if you're in your 20s or if you're a Gen Zer and you hear me or other people talking about Roth IRAs, retirement, it's because we went through this same process where we wanted to get fast money first. And we realized how much of a pain in the ass it was. And that even when we did get it, it never really stuck around and stayed. And then we started doing this. So this is three things that I wish I would have known when it comes to money, finance, investing, basically having a better life because of my decisions. Stuff that I wish I would have known before I was 40 years old. And I'm going to get into the three things real quick. What inspired me to make this video is I saw a YouTuber. He was a young dude. He was talking about how us millennials don't understand that Gen Z doesn't want to hear about Roth IRAs or retirement. All they want to do is take their money and put it in crypto and make some money real fast. And they're saying that we don't understand this. And the reason why this video is so important to me is because it's like, dude, no, I do understand this. I do understand that thinking. That's why I'm just getting to the point now where I'm actually doing this stuff, right? And I'm 40 years old because I chased fast money for so long. I wanted to get sales online. I wanted to start a Shopify store. I wanted to run ads. I wanted to do all these other things other than just being patient and incrementally building more wealth. I wanted to do everything else except that. And so we do understand. I think it's a phase that everybody goes through. It's just that younger people don't realize that this is a stage of life. And so here's the three things that I wish I would have done back then. Because you can do these three things and still speculate and put money into crypto or start your own business. Like you can still do those things, but just make sure you're doing these three things too. So number one, take a percentage of what you make, of what you pay yourself, and put it into a high yield savings account. And the easy way to do this is just do it before you pay any bills. I watched a TED Talk recently where they were talking about basically the guy was saying that poverty is made from bad decisions, right? We think of poverty and we think of like, people that are living in poverty, they buy more lotto tickets, they smoke more, they drink more, they make worse health choices, they don't go to the gym as much. A lot of it's like really short-term thinking. And there was a study done where they went to these farmers in India, and I'm going to get to why I'm talking about high yield savings accounts, because the best thing you could do is just have money, just have it. And that's why you want to put something into a high yield savings account every month. But here's why it's the best thing. They did this study. They went to this farm in India, and these farmers in India, I forgot exactly what their crop was, but they basically made around 60% of their money that they made per year all off of one harvest. So they had these massive fluctuations in how much money that they had, depending on, like per year, depending on if they just harvested this crop or if it's like 6 months after they harvested it, right? So they spend a lot of the year in like poverty conditions for them. And then they spend this little portion of the year in like this excess abundance conditions for them. And so what they did with this study is they went and they gave the farmers an IQ test. They gave them an IQ test before they had the harvest, and then they came back and gave them, the same farmers, an IQ test after the harvest. And shockingly enough, they scored 14 points lower on the IQ test when they had less, when they weren't in an abundant state, when the harvest wasn't going on. That's equivalent to like missing a night's sleep. Like they're basically like making dumber decisions when they didn't have resources. And this makes sense. You don't have resources, and then you think you do whatever you can to be able to get the resource short term, and it messes everything else up long term. And so that's why the best thing that I think anyone can do is just take a percentage of their money. Like right now, I do this with about 40%. Actually, it's about 10% that goes into high yield savings, but 30% of what I make goes into investments and retirement and stuff now. But this all started with a high yield savings account first. I didn't say, let me take 10% of what I make, put it into investments. I was like, no, let me put it into a high yield savings account where I'm getting 4% interest just for holding my money in there. And I did that for a while. And then I started getting excited every month when I would see more money being deposited into there that I didn't deposit, when I started seeing my interest payments come in there. And I was like, whoa, by me just not spending this money, I'm making more money. And I got that built up to around 10,000 bucks. And then I said, okay, well, then the market crashed in April for like a little bit, for like a couple of weeks, right? So then I pulled money out of my high yield savings account. I had resources. I pulled a couple grand out, put it into the market. And then I saw that go up and I was like, whoa, this is really cool too. And so I'm making better long-term decisions because I have capital. And when I didn't have capital, that's when I was, trying to master online sales and become a consultant and doing all this coaching. And I did make money doing that, but I did it. I started off with no money so that when I did get money, when I would get, have $10,000 days, get a client for 10,000 bucks, have $10,000 days, then I think like, oh, I'm rich, and I'm like Ubering all around town instead of driving because I don't feel like it, and like wealth abundance mindset type shit, and then I'd spend all the money and be like, oh no, I got to go make it again, and I kind of created this whole new rat race for myself. And so rule number one is just put money away into a high yield savings account so that you can get into this state where you make better decisions for the long term. Do that consistently and make a habit out of it. Rule number two is you want to start to look at, just to simplify it, get that money to start working for you. That's it. When it's in a high yield savings account, you are gaining interest, but that interest is like barely above the rate of inflation. So it makes it so that a high yield savings account protects your money from inflation eating away at it. Inflation is usually 3% every year. And so high yield savings account, if it's 4%, you're barely beating inflation. So you're not going to get like wealthy or get really ahead with that. You're just not going to get behind. You leave it in a checking account, you're saving in there, or a savings account that's less than 3% interest, you'll end up being behind. So you want to get that money working for you. And that this means a couple things. If you have high interest debt, like consumer debt, vehicles, credit cards, Best Buy cards, Home Depot card, any one of those kind of things where it's like you get a credit card at a store so you can buy crap at the store, like any of that kind of stuff, personal loans, pay that off. Just start paying them off. The one with the highest interest rate, pay that off first and then start working on the other ones. Pay more than your monthly payment. Like just get them done. If you're doing that with your money, you're actually getting your money to work for you. Because if those loans go all the way to term, or if you pay the minimum payment on them, you're paying a lot more money in the long run. And it's easier to see this when you have a stack of cash just sitting to the side and you realize like, whoa, like if instead of paying this credit card payment every month for like the next, 15 years, or this Best Buy card every month for the next, 9 years because I bought that TV last year, if I just paid that off and then those payments went into my high yield savings account, like I'd actually make more money. And so making this switch allows you to have compound interest working in your favor instead of against you. So you want to get your money to start working for you. And we do that first by taking out a high interest consumer debt. And then once you've done that, rule number three, well, we're not even on rule number three yet. So once you've really substantially paid down the consumer debt, then you can start putting it into investments, index funds, if you don't know too much about stocks, but you want to put it into something that's getting you a return. Maybe it's real estate, depends on what you like and what you like to do. Rule number three is map out the kind of life that you want. I know this seems like, what does this have to do with money? But here's an example. I stopped doing the online coaching and consulting because I didn't want to work 60 hours per week anymore. I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to spend time with family. I want my money to be able to grow and have me not do anything. And for a while, I was really interested in real estate. And I realized, like, okay, for me to, like, if I wanted to grow a really big real estate portfolio, I'm going to have to be managing people. And, like, I'm going to be a landlord at first. Then I'm going to have property managers. I'm going to have to manage the relationships. I'm going to have to manage the property managers. And I'm always going to be getting phone calls about these things. And the money's going to be tied up in these assets. I would much rather just, like, buy stock. I could buy $100,000 worth of stock and not talk to anyone, and then I could sell it in an instant and get my gains without talking to anyone. I like that, but that's me, right? This aligns with the life that I've mapped out for myself. So that's why rule number 3 is map out the life that you want and keep that in the forefront of your mind so you don't go down some rabbit hole that ends up building the life that you don't want. Because it's very easy to still be successful when you're doing this stuff, but feel like you're not because you are using that success to build a life that doesn't align with you. So just to recap these rules, rule number 1, save a percentage of what you earn, put it into a high yield savings account. You will start seeing other opportunities when you have money, especially if you're starting from a place of not having it. Rule number 2, get that money to work for you by paying off high interest consumer debt, paying off student loans or personal loans, and then getting it to work for you in the market. Rule number 3, mapping out the kind of life that you want to have. I hope this was helpful. If you're in your 20s or if you're a Gen Zer and you hear me or other people talking about Roth IRAs, retirement, it's because we went through this same process where we wanted to get fast money first, and we realized how much of a pain in the ass it was, and that even when we did get it, it never really stuck around and stayed. And then we started doing this. So hopefully you can learn from that and just start doing this from the get-go. You can still chase fast money if you want, but do this stuff too. You will thank me when you're my age. See you guys in the next one.